Hey, welcome back to MajorSlackVideos, your first off for titillating tactical gaming. And let's compare the two, what I think are the best ways of making money in Fallout 4. You're already familiar with one of my ways, and that is a melon farm. And I finally had a chance to experiment extensively with the other way of making big money in Fallout 4, and that is the one that everybody is just completely creaming their pants over, and that is the water purifier scam. Okay, every time like if you do a search in YouTube, you know, how to make money on Fallout 4. I just did this the other day. Okay, I did a search in YouTube, how to make money in Fallout 4, and I swear every single video I watched a dozen videos, every single one was about the water purifier scam. Okay, this is basically where you set up a whole bunch of water purifiers in your settlement, and then the water purifiers will spit out a whole bunch of purified water into your workshop, and you take the purified water out of your workshop to a vendor and you sell it for big money. All right, but there's pros and cons to both money making schemes, the melon farm and the water purifier farm. And I've had a chance to, like I said, really take an in-depth look at the water purifier situation, and these are my notes on both of them. Okay, tell you right now, I'm siding with the melon farm, but that's just because it fits in with my playstyle. You may enjoy the water purifier farm more. All right, let's start with the water purifier. You can set up a small water purifier farm right out of the gate in Sanctuary. That is right after meeting Codsworth and doing a little tour of Sanctuary. With just a little bit of preliminary scrapping, you can set up 5 water purifiers producing a total of 50 water. Now this won't produce much water, but you know, yeah, you can get a small farm up and running right away. Now the thing about the water purifier scheme is water is produced by the water purifiers by passing in-game time. All right, and the catch is sleeping or waiting by sitting in a chair won't work. You actually have to pass in-game time naturally. Okay, this is what I find is the biggest drawback to the purified water farm scheme. It's not what I call a money on demand scheme. You can't just like turn on the money tap, pun intended, anytime you like. Okay, you have to wait. Okay, you have to pass in-game time. Now of course the next thing you're wondering is exactly what is the ratio of real time to in-game time, and I took the time to do some extensive testing, and it works out to 1 minute real time equals exactly 20 minutes game time. Okay, once again, that's 1 minute real time equals 20 minutes game time. And it looks like after some more extensive testing that the game will only spit out a batch of water pretty much once a day, once a game day. All right, it's pretty random. I'll get into that later, but it's annoyingly random. It seems like once a day the game will say, okay, you've got this many water purifiers, here's your water, boom, and you get it. All right, now so to pass one game day, you need to pass 72 minutes real time. That's 1 hour and 12 minutes real time. All right, in order to pass one day in the game. So that means that either you have to go out adventuring or questing, or just leave the game running and go do something else, go do the dishes, have dinner or whatever. But that's what it takes. All right, and I've heard people talk about, like, you know, in-game time passes more quickly if you're running. No, that's not true. I did some tests, extensive tests. I ran for 2 minutes and it passed exactly 40 minutes game time. So there's no difference whether you're just standing there or running, or if you're out in questing, adventuring, it's the exact same thing. 1 minute real time equals 20 minutes game time. All right, so right away you can see that a money making scheme like this is a go big or a go home kind of deal. If you're going to have to wait the same in-game time anyway for your water purifiers, regardless of how many you have to produce water, you might as well have a lot. Otherwise you're just wasting your time, literally. You know, you need to have a lot. It's not a money on demand kind of scheme. You have to pass a certain amount of time, and if you only got a few water purifiers, you're not going to make much. That's the bottom line. All right, So those few water purifiers that you can set up at the beginning, you know, they're just going to spit out a little bit of chump change. What you really need to do, and this is what I did for demonstrational purposes and by way of testing, is I set up 10 industrial water purifiers, okay? And this requires a lot of resources, okay? It requires 10 industrial water purifiers requires 40 oil, 20 ceramic, 100 rubber, 40 copper, 200 steel, 40 cloth, and 60 screws. That's right, 60 screws. Yeah, they really screw you on the screws. All right, and that's not all. You need 10 medium power generators to power these industrial water purifiers. So that means another 30 screws, 30 gears, 70 steel, 30 rubber, 30 copper, and 10 ceramic. All right, and on top of that you need another 10 copper to wire all the generators to the purifiers. All right, so now granted, a lot of these resources or components are very common. For example, the ceramic, the rubber, the steel, and the cloth are very common. You're gonna be swimming in these components. But other components are not common, namely the copper, the screws, the gear, and the oil. All right, so to set up 10 industrial water purifiers, you're going to need a total of 80 copper, 90 screws, 30 gears, and 40 oil. All right, so you can see right away this is not a money making scheme you're going to be able to set up right out of the gate, right off the bat, as soon as you arrive in Sanctuary. Okay, this is a long-term plan. I see a lot of people going, you know, this is a get-rich-quick money-making scheme. It's not really a get-rich-quick money-making scheme. It's a get-rich-slow money-making scheme. It's a long-term plan. Once it's up and running, mind you, okay, and you have the patience to wait, you know, one in-game day for your water purifiers to spit out the water, you can take your huge, humongous batch of water to town, to the Diamond City market, and sell it off and make big money like that. But you know, it's just a matter of setting it up and then waiting the in-game time for your water purifiers to produce. All right, so to summarize, pros of the water purifier scheme: once you have the resources, setting it up is quick and easy. You can set up a small farm in Sanctuary with just a little bit of looting. Another pro is if you have a big farm, when it pays off, you can make big money very fast. Okay, that's when it pays off. All right. Cons: it's not a money on demand scheme. You have to pass in-game time in order to get your water purifiers to produce. This is the big thing for me. I just can't stand that. It just bugs the crap out of me. And the production is exasperatingly random and making it unreliable. For example, according to my test, I waited like one in-game day. I came back, like, you know, like I said, that required me to wait 72 minutes real time. As I was waiting, I came back after 10 minutes and my water purifiers had produced one water. All right, and came back after 30 minutes, it still only had produced one water. That's after 30 minutes. Okay, so typically like a half a day has passed in game time and it still only produced one water. So I came back after 72 minutes, and sometime between in the last half a day, the game suddenly decided to spit out 291 water. That's 291 water for my 10 industrial water purifiers. All right, and I said, oh, okay, but I'm trying to correlate this 291 water to my 400 water rating, which is what my 10 industrial water purifiers rate as altogether. They give the settlement a 400 water rating. I'm trying to go like 290 water. How do you do the math on that? How does the game do the math on that? You know, where does it seems like it just plucks this number out of thin air. I don't know what's going on there, you know. So then I decided to wait another 20 minutes, which would equate to about another 7 or 8 hours in game time, and it was still sitting at only 291 water. So like I said, the production is exasperatingly random. It's really random, and that just bugs the crap out of me. But if you don't mind that, you know, if you don't mind just like going out questing and adventuring and coming back once in a while and checking on your water production, then, you know, maybe that's for you. But didn't work for me. All right. Another big con for me with the purified water scheme is a big purified water farm pretty much requires certain perks to operate smoothly. You're definitely going to need the science perk, otherwise you won't even be able to build industrial water purifiers. You have to it actually requires the science perk. And you're probably also going to want the scrapper perk to provide you with all the components, the massive number of components required to set up 10 industrial water purifiers and the generators to give them the power. And you're also probably going to want the local leader perk to set up vendors in your settlement so that you can fast track the selling of the water, you know. And if you get the local leader perk, then you're going to need high charisma. You're going to need at least 6 charisma. And on top of that, even still, even if you don't have the local leader perk, you're going to need really high charisma to get a good price for your water, right? According to the test I ran, you need charisma at 10 to get 11 caps per water, which is a pretty good price. All right, otherwise you're gonna have to settle for less. All right, and getting high charisma means either A, planning in advance to do this, which means pumping a lot of points into charisma in the first place, or B, making grape mentats all the time, which is a drug you could take that will boost your charisma, and that will mean having a supply of whiskey, hub flower, and mentats in order to make that drug. Okay, so pretty much a big water purifier farm, which is how are you going to have to go to really make it pay off. It's going to require perks, and it's going to require some overhead with regards to, you know, planning and whatnot. All right, so all of this is not for me. Maybe set up a small water purifier farm as a side business to your melon farm, but you know, as a main business, no, it's not for me. But like I said, each to his own. Let's move on to melon farming. All right, this is my favorite way of making money in Fallout 4. Melon farming. Here, an overview of the scheme is you plant a big melon farm in Sanctuary, and then you harvest the melons and take them all over to Lucy Abernathy and sell them to her for 5 caps per melon. This is the kind of deal that you can set up in advance by talking to Lucy Abernathy, and you have to go through a certain dialogue in order to get 5 caps per melon. Otherwise, she only pay you 3 caps per melon. But it's easy. It's easy to pass the charisma test in order to get her to pay you 5 caps per melon. So it's pretty much a given. I've never known anybody to fail that test. You just have to say the right things at the right time. All right. So the big advantage to melon farming is it's a very low-tech money-making scheme. It doesn't require any perks. You can set up a farm pretty much right out of the gate in Sanctuary. The resources required are only related to maintaining a settlement with enough settlers to manage the farm, meaning you just simply need enough beds, food, water, and defense to keep your settlers happy. Other than that, the melon farm is pretty much self-sufficient. All you need is just the melons. All right. All in all, much less resources than a big water purifier farm. For example, for a 120 melon farm in Sanctuary run by 10 settlers, you require only 1 generator, 3 machine gun turrets, although you could probably get away with 2 machine gun turrets and 1 Tesla arc, 12 beds, 1 water purifier, and 1 water pump. That's it. That will keep your 120 melon farm running. All right, and you probably also need a radio recruitment beacon as well to, you know, to get the settlers there in the first place. I'll get more into that in another video coming up, where I'm going to show you a speed run on how to set up a melon farm very, very quickly. All right, so that's the melon farm. The pros of the melon farm is it is a money on demand scheme. You can make money anytime you want. It's extremely reliable. All you have to do is harvest the melons and take them over to Lucy Abernathy and sell them. And anytime you want to respawn your melons, you can do this. All you have to do is just wait 24 hours, fast travel away and fast travel back, and all your melons will be respawned. Works every time. So basically, this is a turn on the tap kind of deal. You can turn on the money tap anytime you want, make some money, and you know, and keep the tap running as long as you want to make as much money as you want. That's what I find is the biggest advantage of melon farming over the purified water scheme. It's just that you have your hand on the controls all the time. All right. And another big pro is it's not limited by vendors' available cash. In other words, you know, you don't have to worry about going to Diamond City Market and vendors running out of cash to buy your produce. Lucy Abernathy will buy whatever you bring her. Okay, so if you decide to set up 3 or 4 mega melon farms, you can go harvest all the melons at all your melon farms and bring her a whack ton of melons, and she'll buy them all off you, just like that. There's no limit. All right, so that is another big pro. All right, and the final big pro, like I mentioned, it's very low tech. No special perks are required. Even if you go big and make many farms, you still don't require any special perks, and you don't need high charisma because it's a fixed rate. So you can do this with charisma 1. It's a fixed rate what Lucy Abernathy pays for your melons. You can do this all with charisma 1. You don't have to worry about how high your charisma is. You don't have to worry about having any special perks to set up your melon farm. None of that. It's a very low-tech operation. All right. The cons. The biggest con, I would say, of a melon farm is it just takes a lot longer to set up. Okay, that's the bottom line. To set up a melon farm, it requires a little bit of finesse and running around. And when I first started doing this, it took me a good couple of hours, couple or 3 hours to get the whole thing set up, 120 melon farm set up. But I have streamlined this process, okay? And that's what I'm leading up to. I have streamlined, I've worked on this and worked on it, and I've streamlined the whole process of setting up 120 melon farm in Sanctuary down to 45 minutes. Okay, 45 minutes flat. I tested this a half a dozen times. Anybody can do that. And I'm going to show you that in the next video, in the video coming up. All right. The biggest problem with setting up a melon farm is pretty much getting the game to send you enough settlers to run your farm. All right. Getting the melons is no problem, and planting the melons is no problem. But that takes a bit of time too. But getting the game to send you settlers is the big, that's the bottleneck right there. But I finally solved this bottleneck, and I'm going to show you in the next video how to do a speed run to set up a melon farm in Sanctuary. All right. And another kind of con that some people might not really dig is the fact that you have to harvest the melons. Okay, that takes some time. It takes, like, I don't know, I would say it takes about 7 minutes round trip, okay, to harvest 120 melon farm. 7 to 10 minutes. You can harvest all your melons, sleep 24 hours, fast travel over to Abernathy farm, sell her the melons, come back, rinse and repeat. So it takes about, I don't know, 7 to 10 minutes round trip, and that may not appeal to some people. Whereas the purified water thing, you just go out and play the game, but you do have to wait one in-game day for your water purifiers to produce water, but you don't have to do anything. You don't have to physically do anything. Okay, so that's one con. Another con that the melon farm has, you actually have to manually harvest the melons. So that's it. That's the melon farming versus water farming showdown. Coming up next, I'm going to show you how to do a speed run to set up a melon farm very quickly, to make the prospect of farming melons much more attractive. And also, I'm going to be doing some build videos, some special Fallout 4 build videos, some of which will require a heavy cash flow. This is why I'm informing you guys, of all your options on how to make big money in Fallout 4. Because yeah, I'm going to be doing what I call some big money builds. I will also be doing some poor man builds, but some of the builds I'm going to show you will require you to have a lot of money. So there's your options regarding money. I also heard talk of people selling jet to make money. I just don't see this. Jet requires fertilizer, and fertilizer is not a renewable resource. So I don't know about that, but I heard talk of that, but I don't see that happening. Anyway, so that's it for this video. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching, and if you thought this was remotely entertaining and or informative, please subscribe to my channel for more kick-ass Fallout 4 videos. Alright, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching.